It's been a little cold in the country the last few weeks, but we are learning today that 2014 was the warmest year on Earth on record. And U.S. scientists say humans are the cause. The Earth averaged 14.58 degrees Celsius last year, almost 0.7 degrees warmer than the 20th century average. And in fact, 9 of the 10 hottest years on record have occurred since the year 2000. According to NASA, carbon dioxide emissions are largely to blame. Joining us now is climate scientist Andrew Dessler. He's a professor at Texas A&M University's Department of Atmospheric Sciences. Sir, we're delighted you're here. Thank you very much for appearing with us today.
Great. Good evening.
So what do you make of this?
Well, I mean, scientists have been predicting for 100 years that if you burn fossil fuels and load the atmosphere with carbon, the temperatures are going to go up. And so it's kind of like, you see someone about to stick their finger in the socket, and then they stick it in the light socket and they shock themselves. You're not surprised by that. So we're not surprised to see temperatures going up.
Well, maybe you're not surprised, but there are naysayers to climate change and linking it with carbon emissions. Where's the tipping point where science just falls on its face and says, okay, you're right, this is it?
Yeah, the objection to climate science in almost 100% of the cases doesn't come from the fact that these people have looked at the science and actually object to it. It's more of a policy problem. If climate change is true, then all sorts of policies that some people don't like will be implemented. For example, you Canadians are rapidly trying to develop tar sands. Well, if climate change is a big problem, it makes development of the tar sands a lot harder. And so, people don't want to hear that. And so they say, well, I just don't believe the science. I mean, you see that in all sorts of other venues where people are given facts they just don't like. They just sort of say, well, that's not right.
It's kind of easy when we live in a temperate zone like most of us in the Americas do to tolerate a little inching up of the thermometer. But we're being told there's catastrophic results coming if we don't stop this. Do you think any way, anyhow, we can get the political will to get nation states to work together on this?
Oh, if you'd asked me 6 months ago, I would have given you a really pessimistic answer. But I've actually been really encouraged in the last couple of months. I think when the U.S. and China agreed in a bilateral deal to reduce emissions, that was really a huge step forward. I think we might look back in 20 or 30 years and say that was really the tipping point of climate negotiations. And so I think that with the U.S. and China and Europe on board, countries like Canada and Australia that really don't want to have governments that don't want to do anything, they'll really be forced to go along with it. So I think we are going to see progress. Now, that doesn't mean we can stop climate change. I think that a lot of climate change is already baked into the system. And so we are going to have impacts. There will be some problems, but hopefully we can head off the really large warming that we're headed for at the end of the century.
Andrew Dessler is a climate scientist, a professor at Texas A&M. Sir, we appreciate your time. Thank you for this.
Thank you.